There's no need for words, Snake. I'm Curtis.
We'll open up this. This is a computer communications room, and on the other side we've got a storage locker. If you've played a lot of point-and-click games in the past, you'll know that you just pick up anything you can. Just anything you can pick up is probably going to have a use at some point, so just have a look through, pick up as much as you can. So we want, let's see, can we take that? Yeah, we can take an E261. Don't think we can take that. No, there are lots of them, we know where to find them. The box is sealed tight. Okay, we can take an EC1999, and I think we need an EC10. I think that's all of it. I don't think there's anything else we can take here. Don't think so, anyway. Lots of them here, we know where to find them. Okay, so now I think that's about it. Through here we've got the communication system. We can try and use the controls. The state-of-the-art communication center, the 22nd century equivalent of the Radio Shack. Yeah, so this is set in, I think it's like 2160 something. But yeah, okay, so let's try and use the controls. You try bringing up the TC control interface and it prompts you for a password. When you don't enter one, it times out and displays a looping message that's currently being sent out on tachyon carrier waves.
All Alliance ships, this is the USS Lexington. Hull ID Lima Charlie Bravo Hotel 09er. Mayday, Mayday. We are under attack by a UN Geneva-class heavy cruiser. Our defensive screen has been penetrated. Our mission has been compromised. The ship has sustained serious damage. The electronics in the external communications array were shorted out by an enemy strike while we were moving the dish to acquire new transmission coordinates. Our dish is now locked in a useless position. If you receive this message, please retransmit to the Alliance base on Erebus as soon as possible. Stand by for a coded telemetry burst with mission data under paradox encryption.
Okay, so that was I assume that was the communications officer sending out a mayday. She is also dead now. Gonna have to get used to that, seeing the faces of our former dead friends. Former dead? Now dead former friends. So the only room we haven't tried out here yet is the wardroom, which I believe in the captain's note it said Trans recorded a briefing on the ship's condition and your immediate objectives. Yeah, so that'll be in the wardroom. Alright, so you head over here. Oh, let's use the view screen. Try using the controls on either side of the screen. So it can be a little bit patronizing or picky, but yeah, you have to be very logical with this game. You can't use the screen just the same way you can't use a computer monitor. You have to use a mouse and keyboard. You have to use the controls to make what you want to appear on the monitor appear. So click the view screen controls, hit use, and it should bring up trans message.
I'm sure you're wondering what's going on.
Yes.
I'll explain. You are probably aware that the Lexington was attacked by a UN ship. We were outgunned and on the verge of being destroyed when Captain Dana notified the UN captain of our desire to surrender. Garrick agreed to take the crew of the Lexington and Jericho aboard before destroying both ships. As I record this message, Garrick is waiting for us to transfer over to his ship on the Lexington shuttle. You are the only one left behind. If we're lucky, the UN bastard will ignore one crewman left on board the Lexington. We intend to detonate a thermonuclear device after our shuttle has been taken aboard the UN vessel. This will completely destroy their ship. It will also kill everyone on board both shuttles. This should leave you free to complete our mission. There is nothing more important than this mission, including the lives of the crew. We died so that you can finish what we started. Our ship was badly hurt during the UN attack. The first thing you must do is deal with the worst of the battle damage. There are problems which directly threaten the near-term survival of the ship. Now, first of all, the primary power reactor is headed for a meltdown because the coolant system has failed. The molten core will eat through the containment vessel of the reactor and set off the fuel for the fusion engines. The resulting explosion will completely destroy the Lexington and the nearby Jericho. You need to get to engineering and stop the runaway chain reaction. The meltdown is the top priority. When you deal with that problem, then you must get the central computer back in operation. Without that, you cannot complete the mission. Currently, all computer processing has been delegated to the smaller, decentralized computers that exist on each deck of the ship. They do not communicate with each other except on a very primitive level. Enough to keep what you might think of as subconscious ship functions going. There is no overall guiding intelligence in these autonomous systems. The ship's central computer is made up of Turing cores and is home to the complex software that gives the ship's computer its smarts. The higher functions of the ship's brain reside in the central computer cores. These cores are currently inoperative. The primary cores were destroyed, and the secondary cores failed to activate the way they were supposed to. You must get the central computer back online. I've recorded one more message. You'll hear from me again when you get the central computer back in operation. I have key-coded the message so that the higher functions of the main computer will pick it up and display it for you as soon as the central cores are once again operational. Good luck, and be careful. Tran out.
Okay, so as soon as the message ends, the ACN spits out a plastic card. Tran must have programmed the unit to regurgitate the card as soon as the briefing ended. So this is the little plastic card that we got. Yeah, so a little plastic card here. That goes in the elevator, or as I'm probably going to keep calling it, turbo lift, in order to actually get it working. Alright, so again, we have somebody going on and on about how impressive and important our mission is and how vital it is to the effort, without actually telling us what the effort is or what the mission itself is. But I guess the idea is that as a member of the senior staff, we already know what the mission is, but as a player, we don't know what the mission is just yet. But we will find out, assuming we don't die. And on that note, actually, let's save the game. So let's call this Let's Play. Alright, so let's just save the game. Because with this game, there is no automatic saving. If you die, there is no restore function. If there's no save on your computer, then when you die, all you get to do is restart, and that's right back to the beginning, which we don't really want to go through again. So, alright, so we've explored everything we can. That's not true. That is completely not true. We haven't explored the rest of those staterooms. As I said, point and click adventure game, just explore everywhere, pick up everything you can.
Access denied.
There you go. See, so there's no downside to getting access denied. You can just keep going through all the options until you get the right one. It's not exactly the most secure system in the world, but it works out pretty well in our case. Alright, so immediately, what's different about the stateroom? There's an embossed yellow card. A scientist on a Navy warship is like a whore in a gay bar, Dr. Anton Fujikawa. Okay, well. Alright, so open the desk drawer. There is nothing of interest in the desk drawer. Same as before, clean uniforms, locked cabinet, molecule model, too awkward to carry around. There's a book. Grab the book and compare its usefulness against its mass. Usefulness equals 0, mass equals 1,262 grams. The book goes back on the desk. Probably a good idea. Alright, so we can use this computer terminal. It will just be the same as the computer terminal outside.
Computer? The main computer.
Yeah.
I'm done. Access terminal.
So we don't need to hear all of that again. Alright, so there's nothing in this one, so on to the next one. Now we've already done this one, so where we repaired the hole punctures. There's nothing special in there.
This stateroom is
Alright,
access granted.
so the one on the left was trans, so we don't have the code for that, so there's no way we can get in. Alright, so we've got a safe here with an eyepiece. You can try and open it. It's locked tight, obviously. Try to break it. Be relatively easy to render the retinal scanner inoperative. Unfortunately, this action would leave you without any chance of opening the safe at all. You can pull on the safe, but nothing happens. It's a safe, so you know, it's naturally going to be a little bit difficult to get into. Okay, nothing of interest inside the desk drawer. Can't take any of the books. Yeah, same before. Oh, nice. They actually changed the amount of grams. That's a weird but kind of nice little touch. Alright, so we've got nothing in here. It's just completely unnecessary, but nice little addition. Okay, so on the left we have our quarters. We've got personal files. Nothing in the file pack that would be terribly useful. We've got an old paperweight. You heft the paperweight in one hand. As you do this, violent thoughts race through your mind. They disturb you so much that you toss it back onto the desk. Wow, okay. Let's read the notepad. After reading the first item, you realise that these things you had once considered important are now utterly trivial. Jesus Christ. Okay, this guy doesn't seem to have a lot of self-esteem. Alright, so we can look at the photograph. There's an old keepsake we found at a junk shop, still with the shore leave 3 years ago. Back when you were still with the fleet tender USS Hesperus. The framed image is a pre-holographic emulsion type photograph of one of Jupiter's moons. Again, nothing that's going to be useful. Yeah, it's just absolutely nothing that we need here. We're going to move on. The right was pools. I don't think we had a code for that one. Yeah, we can't get in there. Alright, now it's time to go into the elevator. So, as Tran said, we have two main objectives right now. We've got to stop the ship blowing up, number one. So, first of all, we've got to try and head to engineering. So push the button just to open the door, and we head in. So we've got to head to engineering to stop a core meltdown. Why they didn't, I suppose they didn't have time, but you know, relying on us for this seems risky. Yeah, so we've got to go to engineering, stop a core meltdown, and then we've got to get the main computer back online. Those are the two things we need to do. Once we've got the main computer back online, we'll have another message from Tran where she'll explain sort of where we need to go next. Okay, so use the elevator controls.
A yellow keycard is required to gain access to other decks.
A yellow keycard, you say? Well, we just happen to have one of those. So you can grab the keycard and put in the slot.
Access granted.
There we go, access granted. Alright, so let's give that another go. So, elevator controls, use. So let's try and go to engineering. That deck is currently inaccessible due to a potential radiation hazard between the entrance to the reactor spaces and the engineering level. Okay, so let's see. Engineering, the only deck sort of adjacent to it is reactor spaces, so I guess we've got to go there. And within reactor spaces, we can climb down through the deck and get to engineering the hard way. However, there is going to be an issue.
Reactor spaces.
A lot of this game is going to be, however, there is an issue. So, this is the entrance to a honeycomb of access tunnels, crawlways, maintenance areas, and workspaces surrounding the innards of the Lexington's liquid-cooled reactor. God, there is a lot of fucking tongue twisters in this game. God damn it, my mouth is dry already. Alright, so we head down the ladder and get a very pretty animation for it.
You are in a radiation hazard area. All personnel
Alright.
must wear proper protective gear and
The elevator won't go down to engineering, so the only way to get there is to go down through 5 levels of vertical access tunnels and reactor maintenance areas. Unfortunately, if Tran is right and the coolant system is damaged, then radioactive coolant may have spilled into some of the tunnels. You can't get your hands on a rad suit, the radiation protection gear is all down in engineering. This means that you need to navigate through the reactor spaces without a rad suit. This would be a dangerous exercise. There wouldn't be any way to tell just by looking which tunnels were contaminated. So essentially, long story short, what we need is a Geiger counter. And fortunately, having played this game, I know just where to get one. If you were playing this game for the first time, you'd probably be kind of stuck, just thinking, well, I'll start at the beginning and work my way down and just explore until I find a way around this. But yeah, I know that it's... Oh, I'm reasonably confident there's one on deck 5. I always doubt myself, but I'm pretty sure there's one on deck 5.
Deck 5.
There we go. Alright, so this is deck 5. Alright, so through there is the main computer, but unfortunately during the attack we took some damage and now there's wreckage blocking the way. So we'll go down to the end. On the left we have, I believe this is the science lab. Yeah, the science lab's the working environment for the ship's designated science officer. Okay, so we've got a storage cabinet here, we've got a scanner, and we've got a Geiger counter, which is exactly what we needed. Storage cabinets here we can't open, they're locked tight. Okay, so scientific equipment we don't have any use for. Flat panel display. Scientists must speak a different language. None of these symbols look remotely familiar. Can't help but feel that we must have hit our head during the attack, because this guy seems a bit of an idiot, which is probably why I feel so at home playing. Alright, so we've also got the medical bay. We've got the auto dock, which we can activate. Usually controlled by a handheld remote unit that the medical officer can use as he monitors treatment while standing near the patient. So a little robot doctor basically. Kind of like the EMH, but not nearly as charming. Alright, so there's a little tapes note. So Captain Dana wanted the auto dock reprogrammed with what he called a panic button. I fixed it so that if you key in the code 911 on the auto dock remote control, the treatment unit will automatically stun anybody or anything within 3 meters of the auto dock. Does this have something to do with our mission? It sounds like you're going to be working with an ET specimen. What gives? H. So I don't really know who H is, but yeah. Long story short, we can't really use any of this. It's all medical stuff, and we're not a doctor. Damn it, Jim! I'm a supply officer, not a physician, or not a doctor. All right. So we've got our Geiger counter, so we can head back to reactor spaces now. Now, the next bit, I recall giving me hell every time I replay this. Probably haven't played this game for nearly 2 years now.
Reactor spaces.
But this bit is kind of a bitch. So what we'll do is we'll overwrite the save game. And we'll head down into the reactor level. Alright, so we'll activate the Geiger counter. You turn on the Geiger counter is chirping quietly to itself. One of the tunnels above or below is contaminated. Well, we were just above, so we know that that's clean, so it has to be below. So let's head right. Alright, so this is level D. Geiger counter is chirping quietly to itself. One of the tunnels above or below is contaminated. You can't go up, there is no D up. So it has to be the one below. So we know that A and D on the next level down are both contaminated. C, both are clean. Alright. And it would be a good idea to check out B as well, actually. Both are clean. Alright, so we can go down either B or C.
A coolant leak in the power reactor has contaminated the reactor spaces. You are in a radiation hazard area.
Alright,
All personnel must wear proper protective gear and carry radiation monitoring equipment.
Alright, so B below us is. We know that D was bad down here. We know that A was bad down here, but C was fine. One of the tunnels above or below you is contaminated. I've already forgotten. I think. Okay, so. Damn it, I hate logic. Alright, so. Let's go back the way we came a second. Alright, head back up. So these are both clean. Alright. Oh, so this entire level is all fine. Everything above us is fine, because that's the first level. Yeah, that's how that works, I think. So all red is fine. So B down is bad. Oh no, I think we just screwed up actually. We just went into A, which I'm pretty sure is radioactive. Both tunnels above and below you are contaminated. Above and below you is contaminated. Both tunnels in D. Well, we know that A above was fine. Actually, all of red was fine, wasn't it? So it has to be A down there. D is bad. So how do we know? Oh, C was fine. And B was fine. So B and C are both bad. D is both bad. But surely A is bad too. Alright, we'll just try it. Both tunnels leading out, they must be clean. Okay. B is fine. B is fine. Have we just... Hang on. Oh, okay, the only way out is through A. Oh, it's the actual tunnels themselves, so the areas themselves are fine. Oh, man. I swear, the first time I played this game, my dad helped me play it. Well, I guess I helped my dad, really. Basically, I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I've only just really understood this puzzle. The tunnels are contaminated, the actual rooms here are fine. God damn it, I'm an idiot. Alright, so A is fine, we're out. And we haven't received any, like, when you sicken yourself, you get a little pop-up saying, oh, you start to feel dizzy, and then it's all downhill from here. Like, you're dead at that point, the game drags it out. We didn't receive that, so I think we're okay. And actually, the ominous music even went away. No ominous music, I'm thinking we're probably fine. So, we made it down to engineering. And here we are. Yeah, we would have... Oh, excuse me, I went too far. I'll go back. Alright. Yeah, it would have popped up by now. We'll save, but just to be on the safe side, we'll call it let. We'll call it let, because apparently I have fat fingers. Alright, so let it is. So yeah, this is engineering. We've got the linear accelerator. Obviously, we all know what that is. And the Ally quartzite lattice work. I mean, naturally, what engineering station wouldn't be complete with one? Let's see. So we've got pipes, and we've got the main engineering consoles just in here. So look at a series of now familiar computer consoles and displays are mounted along the inside of the main station. Alright, so let's use. You find the proper controls and bring up the touchscreen schematic for the reactor coolant system. Primary coolant tank is damaged. All of the coolant liquid has leaked out of the system. This means you need to route coolant liquid from one of the auxiliary coolant tanks through the reactor in order to cool it down. The reactor coolant system computer interface will allow you to scroll and manipulate a map showing the reactor and the RCS tanks, pipes and valves. Alright. There are 2 auxiliary coolant tanks, both are full. Your first objective is to open the manual valve on one of those tanks so that coolant can flow into the system of RCS pipes and valves. The computer interface on this console will help you determine which valve you need to open manually. Use the arrows at the top right and bottom right of the schematic to scroll up and down. You can't use the computer interface to route the coolant through the reactor until at least one manual valve has been opened. Okay, so essentially we've got the core temperature here. As you can see, it's slowly but steadily moving up. That's bad. I think once it gets here, it's probably game over. Right, and we can scroll down. So these are the auxiliary tanks, these are the manual valves. We'll have to open those manually, so not in this little interface. What we want to do is, what's this here? That's an engine coolant grid. So what we want to do, ideally, is get water going through the main reactor core and this thing through at least one of these heat exchangers to try and lose off some of the heat, and then back into there. So you create a system of water flowing through it. I don't know if it needs to go through there, I can't remember, but given that we're on a timer, let's just go and open one. We need to open either manual valve 2 or manual valve 3, it doesn't really matter which. We'll go for 2. I can't remember how much choice you actually get. Okay, so you hit escape. Alright. So we need to back out here, and then you got 1, 2, 3 up there, so we need to head over there. Oh, so we've got an equipment storage cabinet first, so cutting torch, we'll need that. As we saw, we had wreckage that we need to cut through, so that'll come in handy. Alright, so we'll try one. I'm pretty sure it's stuck. Yeah, the valve seems to be stuck in the closed position. Alright, so this bit's a little bit finicky. Alright, so we'll go for 2. Okay, so you turn the wheel to open the manual valve, you hear a grinding noise and then a solid sounding clunk from above as the valve locks in the open position. Well, that sounds freaking fantastic. Alright, we'll try number 3. I mean, more water's got to be good, right? You attempt to turn the wheel and find that it is locked in the closed position. It appears you can only have one valve open at a time. We would have known that if we had paid attention to what was being said, but you just got time to pay attention when you're trying to save the ship. Am I right, or am I right?
The demonstration is over.